Association of Adolescent Health, I was really surprised. Why I was surprised? First time I came to know through Deshmukh sir that there is such an association who is really working hard in taking care of the health in among adolescent. Health means it is not only physical, it is even mental health. That's why in IIH there are even psychiatrists and other doctors are involved who is really working towards the improvement of the adolescent health. And when they asked me that can we just have a platform or can we just have a discussion on the legal impacts with the adolescent children, I was really very happy. And I thought, okay, let me just concentrate on this. Why adolescent children are turning as criminals? What could be the reasons? Why are they called juvenile delinquents? And why there is such a law called Juvenile Justice Act? Why? What is wrong in society? So when I started just analyzing all these things, I came out with various other factors. So starting with the introduction. In Indian society, if we concentrate on Indian society, so initially we had a concept called joint families, where people belonging to one family used to live under one roof, and the children belonging to that particular family was observed by the elders of the family. They were guided by the family members. There was social security to them. There were so many other factors which really helped or contributed to a child to shape himself as a responsible adult. With the population explosion, and there is a lot of changes in the society, giant families disappeared. Then the nuclear families came into existence. Instead of 3-4 children, we have a single child, or there might be 2 children in one family. With the demand of economical status, both parents are working. And lack of time, lack of compatibility, lack of interaction. So all these things led to different aspects, different problems. What are the different problems? A child is unable to interact with the parent. A parent is unable to interact with the child. A mother is too busy in her own directions that she is unable to even ask the child what happened in the school today. She is not discussing with the problems. Our father is too busy with his own work setup and then various other problems, various other responsibilities. So the child is unable to interact with the children. With all these developments, children also started looking out for other avenues. Some children who has got a little support family background and all, they were able to shape themselves as a good citizen. Whereas children with a lack of attention and a lack of social security, lack of self-control, lack of self-respect, started looking out for other avenues. Then they landed up in various other problems, including becoming juvenile delinquents. So who is a juvenile? Who is a juvenile delinquent? Why there is a term called juvenile? In law, whoever commits a crime is only called as a criminal. But why do we deal with the children separately? Why do we need a separate act for children? When we look at we analyze all these aspects, we realize and we define who is a juvenile. A person who is a minor under the age of 18 years commits a crime or commits an act in violation with the law is called as a juvenile. And the law also deals with him separately. There is a board set up for the recovery or rectification or rehabilitation process for these children, because they cannot undergo the normal trial in similarity with the criminals. So there is a board set up. The board consists of a magistrate, first class magistrate, with 2 board members. They take care of the aspects of correcting this juvenile. So there are a lot of process involved in this. Why a person or why a child turns as a juvenile? What are the reasons? If we look at that, there are so many reasons contributing. First of all, a weak family. Parents unable to take care of their children and unable to contribute or devote some time to them. So then not trusting the children. They question the child that whatever you are saying is not correct. Who is your friend? Why such a friend is not coming to home? All these factors, and children definitely when they interact with the children among the school or school friends and all, they try to get influenced by the other factors very fast. Now, any child is attracted by the lifestyle. The lifestyle is, first of all, I want to have a comfort life. I want to live a life according to my social status. That is, I should live like my friend. My friend belongs to a rich family. He is owning an iPhone. So I should also have an iPhone. My family doesn't permit me to buy an iPhone. So what is the reason? Where do I get an iPhone? So the child get into stealing, theft. And to achieve his target, he will go down to any level. And he suppresses the factors from the parents. So when all these things are involved, parents are not taking care of the children. That means they are not aware of the children, what they are doing, what my child is doing, all that they are not aware. So with this background, if we consider that the types of juvenile delinquents or juvenile crimes, there are so many. Indian Penal Code is applicable to even juvenile delinquents. Section 302, suppose a juvenile or a minor commits a murder or minor commits a theft or gets himself or involves himself in a sexual offense or whatever it is all considered as offenses committed under Indian Penal Code. Whereas the child below the age of 18, he will not be treated as an accused or he will not be called as an accused. He will not be sent to prison. He will not be put himself into the hard trial by the law, etc. He will be kept in a rehabilitation home. He will be taken to a state home or she will be kept in a separate home along with the children of their age. So the board will only do a rectification process. What are the rectification process? Why do they do that? All that is a separate aspect. So we all have read several cases where juvenile or minor children are involved and have committed several offenses, heinous offenses. For example, Nirbhaya case. Nirbhaya case, there was one minor along with the other accused persons. He was, at the time of committing that crime, he was only 17. So he was kept in a rehabilitation home till he attains the age of major. But he was a part of the crime. He was a part of the act. Similarly, we have another example where in Gurgaon, a boy of a high school cadre, 8th standard, 9th standard, he killed a boy from his own school in a toilet. The boy was from second standard child. Why did he kill the child? What was the motive behind it? If you analyze that, the motive was very simple. Motive was very simple, that he wanted to avoid the parents coming to school because he secured very poor marks. Then he wanted to avoid the school examinations. The boy was under the impression just because some incident happened in the school or happens in the school management will declare holiday. I don't have to write exams. So similarly in Goa, a boy aged 16 years, he commits the murder of his very own grandparents and he robs some valuables from his very own house. Why? What was the reason? What was the motive behind it? Reason again is very simple. The boy was in a very bad company. He was a drug addict. So to fulfill his desire, he wanted money. Where will he get the money? By robbing his own family, by killing his very own grandparents. When we look at and when we analyze all these cases or the examples, why children get into all these things? What was the reason? Why a boy actually involved himself in a heinous offense of committing a rape, and then that became a national issue? Why? Why he was a part of it? Because it was situation. He was with the crowd who committed that act. Just because he being in the situation, he had to be a part of it. A boy who is killing his very own classmate, the second standard boy, what was his intention? He had lack of confidence. He wanted to avoid his examination. He wanted to avoid himself getting poor marks. And then with lack of social and self-confidence, he committed such crime. In the third case, the Goa murder case, why the boy committed murder of his very own grandparents? Because habits. And the company with whom he was moving was a bad company. So to fulfill his desire, he got himself into such crime. So if we look at and analyze these examples of various cases, day in and day out, we read so many cases where juveniles are involved in all these kind of offenses. What is the reason? The very first and foremost, the prime and the major reason is that the children lack confidence. And they don't share their feelings with parents or anybody where the others, that is the parents or the society, can help them in overcome or to come up with their problems. In my personal experience, once I was traveling in a metro. Group of 2-3 girls, they were talking in an abusive language where the concept of the topic of the discussion was very unhealthy, where the public cannot hear. So I tried telling them, this is a metro, you are not supposed to talk all these things. The answer I got was, mind your business. This is none of your business, you mind your business. In another incident, I observed a girl talking to her father in the bus over her mobile. So father must have asked her, where are you? So she is saying, I am in the library. Immediately after that, she removed the SIM card, started talking to her boyfriend, a 14 years old girl. So from these two incidents, what do we observe? The children are not hesitant to explore all other avenues to fulfill their desire. They want to experiment. Initially, talking about any other sensitive topic used to be a very personal thing. Now in public, they talk. Without any hesitation, they talk. So that means the adolescent children are ready to explore new avenues. Why? When I'm saying that you are not supposed to talk all these things in a public transport, which really causes uncomfort to others, the children have the audacity to tell it's none of your business.
Premlata ma'am, your voice is not coming up. Premlata ma'am, voice, I think you are in mute.
Gurra, can you hear me now?
Yeah, please go ahead. ತಿರ್ಗಾ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. Can you please unmute?
ಈಗ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ?
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead. Yes, ma'am, please go ahead. We can hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead, ma'am. We can hear you.
Okay. When we analyze all these examples, so we naturally come to
Yes, ma'am, please go ahead.
when we look at and analyze all these things, that somewhere we have some communication gap. That is the communication gap with the parents. Communication gap could be with the teachers. In this regard, I would like to mention one more example. In a very ordinary school, a girl from an ordinary family background daily coming to the school with expensive chocolates. Daily she has 1,000 to 2,000 rupees to be distributed to her friends. Why is she distributing the money to the friends and the chocolates and the expensive gifts to friends? Where is she getting the money without the knowledge of the parents? When the school teachers came to know about this, they sent word for the parents. The mother comes to the school to say that, no, my daughter is very clean. She is not bringing anything of that kind. Because at home she is a very sweet child. Whereas the teachers have a complaint. When they made some inquiries with the girl, she is saying, one uncle is giving me the money. Who is that uncle? Somebody who is dropping her and then who is picking her from the school complex without the knowledge of the parents, is giving her all valuable gifts, including money. So her friends are they have noticed this, and then they started blackmailing. If you don't give this XYZ to me, then I will definitely report all your acts to the parents. A 14 and 15 years old girl, why is she got into an acquaintance with an uncle? What the uncle is being benefited by the girl? Why is she not disclosing all these things to the parents or teacher or to her friends? Why is she not open? When we analyze this reason, again it is exploring or experimenting luxury life. So with keeping all these examples in the background, if we look at it, the adolescent children are getting into crimes due to various other things, various other factors. It could be personal, it could be situational, it could be from the friends. Sometimes it could be from the inner circle, that is from his mind or from his mental status. And when committing all these crimes, definitely they are not aware or they are not thinking about the legal aspects. If I get involved myself in this crime, what could be the repercussions? What could be my future? Or what could be the legal implications? They don't think about all these aspects. They only commits a crime. Then a proper care is being given to them, and then a chance is given to them, then they can always shape themselves into a better citizen. If not, again with a weak moment or a weak support, they will again put themselves into trouble. So with the background of Nirbhaya case and the Pradyumna case in Gurugram, and several other cases. As I said, the boy Gonsalves from Goa, keeping all these cases, even the Juvenile Justice Board have introduced, the government has introduced an act called Juvenile Justice Act, which is again amended periodically. The very purpose of setting up that act itself is to safeguard the interest of the children. In that, there are 71 sections wherein they have explained and they have defined that what are the safety measures, how to prevent juvenile crime, and then what is the support given by the government legally or law giving supporting the juveniles, etc. is defined. In that, as I said earlier, the juvenile offenders, that is the adolescent offenders, were not treated in accordance with the IPC. That is, they were not being trialed by a proper court of law. There was a separate court set up for them, which is called as a juvenile delinquent court. So they were not called as offenders. They were only called as juvenile delinquent. But when Nirbhaya case came up, actually the government wanted to just treat the boy, the 17-year-old boy, as a juvenile. And then he took part with all his full consciousness. Government also considered that, yes, Juvenile Justice Act we should amend. So there was an amendment brought into this act, this frame, in 2015. What is that amendment? A child or an adolescent who commits an act or commits heinous crime from the age of 16 to 18 years should also be treated as an adult, and he should be dealt in a proper court of law. So even in 2018, there was an amendment brought in the Juvenile Justice Act. So with this background, like the adolescent children can turn into criminals because of the poor family background or poor parent support, poor mental stability or ability, and a bad company, bad habits, lack of self-confidence, with the urge of getting the better benefits by involving himself in heinous offences, sometimes without knowledge, and sometimes due to situations. An adolescent child can always turn into a juvenile delinquent. So how do we prevent juvenile delinquency? What is the support that anybody can give? What is the support, legal support, to a juvenile delinquent or an adolescent child? First and foremost, make him understand the concept of the legal implications. Properly educate them, properly support, try to build the self-confidence, identify the problems. In case the child is not able to cope up with the pressure, then try to take some psychological help, try to give him some counseling, and over a period of time make him understand the legal awareness that if you do this, there is a proper court of law or there is a proper legal action taken against you. All this. I know as a parent cannot tell a child that if you do this, then you will be landed up in legal aspects or legal issues. A parent cannot tell. But by learning things, by showing him or by enlightening him or by giving him such a knowledge, parents also can always do that. And teachers, as a second teachers also can get into support, or teachers can support the child or any adolescent child in shaping themselves as a better child, a better citizen. Again, just
Premlata ma'am, you're done? Or still you have anything else to discuss? Premlata ma'am, can you hear me? Hello? Ma'am, can you hear me?
there seemed to be some problem with the technical this thing, Gurraj.
Yeah, please go ahead, ma'am. Please go ahead.
ಏನು ಮತ್ತೆ problem?
We can hear you, ma'am. Please go ahead. Ma'am, please go ahead. We can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
By supporting a child, by supporting an adolescent child, and in building his self-esteem or supporting him morally, a society can always shape him as a good citizen. Like as we all know that India is a ಇಂದಿನ ಪ್ರಜೆಗಳೇ ಇಂದಿನ ಮಕ್ಕಳೇ ಮುಂದಿನ ಪ್ರಜೆಗಳು, there is a saying. So if we all actually decided to shape the future of a child by legally supporting him, by morally supporting him, by shaping himself as a good citizen, then we can always definitely build a strong society and reduce the number of the crimes, adolescent crimes.
Ma'am, what happened?
Again, there seems to be some problem.
No, we can hear you, ma'am. We can hear you.
But I can't see video.
No, only you will be seen. Only you will be shown. We are not. We have muted our video and audio. You please go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay, with this, there are actually several psychologists and then several research scholars have actually identified on this, and then identified and analyzed to understand the problem with the adolescent child and adolescent problems. And even law also has started dealing with the adolescent problems in its own manner. Again, ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
ಇಲ್ಲ ma'am, you can please go ahead, ma'am. We can see you. Not to worry. We can see you. Hello.
1 second, I think. Are you?
Premlata ma'am, you can talk. I think your video is visible to us.
But some problem is with me, I think.
No, but I can see your video.
You can see me?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay. So with this, and I think it's more or less the IPC is almost similar to the Indian Penal Code, is almost applicable to the adolescent children also in handling with the heinous crimes. Heinous crimes is always defined as wherever the sentence, the imprisonment is less than 7 years, they are called as heinous crimes. So even an adolescent child getting into or involving himself into any such heinous crime, there is no separate what do I call privilege. There is no special privilege is given to him. But whereas he will not be dealt with in par with the normal criminal, he will be not treated or called as an accused, but he will be trying to, the authorities or the law will be trying to reform him instead of putting him into the hard trial. So by giving full support of the board, the Juvenile Justice Board, which consists of the psychiatrist and other persons, and other prominent authorities, they will only try to help the children in overcome all these legal hassles. So with this, I can safely conclude that adolescent children's, if we look at them and then if we definitely support them by giving them the legal support as well as the moral support and the social support, social security, then definitely an adolescent child can always shape himself as a better citizen and he will be an asset to the society.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you. So,
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions, ma'am. Madhuram,
Sir.
Shobha, ma'am, you want to, uh, Shobha, ma'am, you want to continue? You have anything to ask, Shobha, ma'am?
Yeah, you ask Guru Raj first, then I'll ask. No
Okay, ma'am.
issues.
So, Prema, ma'am, we have seen lots of cases, especially in the recent years in the school campus, and
Yes.
so many other cases, right? So,
Yes.
how legally the parents means what I mean to say is, what is
Hope so
the
you mean to say.
no, I mean to say that how what kind of legal support the parents get from the government for the
You mean to say the sexual harassment to the
sexual harassment
children?
or sexual abuse.
That is what?
So if parents, if the parents come from middle class or low to middle class family, or for example, if it happens in the government schools, right? So they don't have
Correct.
any
Not
kind of.
only government schools, even private schools also.
No,
The
ma'am, just
children
telling,
are
when I say
susceptible
government
to
school,
sexual harassment.
ma'am, when I say government school, so most of the
Okay.
parents are not educated, right?
Correct, but
So
this right.
they are not aware what are the legal aspects available in our Indian Penal Code, and also
Yes.
what kind of proceedings we have to take it forward in such situations. So what kind of assistance they will get, such parents, from the government.
First and foremost, any incident of such a sexual harassment is reported to any parent. Immediately, their duty is to lodge a police complaint
Okay,
with the help of the legal board.
okay,
Legal aid board is there, set up in every district.
okay.
Not only that,
Mm-hmm.
for even the child and women welfare board also is supporting to register complaints.
Okay.
Free legal aid is also given to them.
Mm-hmm.
An advocate is given at free of cost to any parent,
Okay.
especially if they are coming from a poor family background.
Mm-hmm.
They will be legally given an advocate's assistance.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, under the Nirbhaya case, as you are aware, that Nirbhaya fund is also set
Compensation.
up
Yeah. So the compensation will be given to the parent or the child.
to the child, not to
Child.
the parent.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
So that also they can do.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes even in the trials also, there is a separate court setup,
Mm-hmm.
child-friendly courts we call.
Okay.
So where women judges only sit there.
Mm-hmm.
So even the trials also will be in camera.
Okay.
In camera proceedings will be there.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the trials and throughout the incidents,
Okay.
the parents as well as the child, they will be kept their identity in anonymity.
Okay.
That is also there.
Okay.
So they will get proper legal support from the beginning.
Okay. Fine. So I have
Till
last
the
question.
case is put to a logical end.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So I have last question. So post that after
good.
that.
I have one more.
Yeah,
Guru Raj,
ma'am, I'll stop it. Then you can continue, Shobha, ma'am.
yeah. Please, you finish your questions
Yeah.
and I'll take.
I have one last question, ma'am. Now, Prema, ma'am, now there is a juvenile case. Okay, so
Yeah.
they'll be sent to juvenile court or juvenile houses, right? So there is a
Correct.
remand room, what we call. So I remember
Yes, that is.
way back in next to Nimans. Shobha, ma'am, correct me. Next to
Correct.
Nimans, there was a remand
Yes,
room.
yes. State home we call.
Okay. So now, so what happens once the child is enrolled to the remand room, right? For the what are the offences? Okay. So now,
Yeah.
till what up to what age the child will be remanded in the remand room?
The child will be in the remand home till the age of 18.
18, right? So post that, what
Yes.
happens to the child? So will they will be?
However, if the child is still not reformed,
Okay.
then the court has the permission to extend that reformatory period for another 3 years.
Okay.
So up to 21 years, the child can be kept in the state home.
Okay. What about his education? So will he can he
So
continue his education?
education will be they have every state home has a school.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
So education can be continued
Okay.
because we have instances wherein the adolescent children have completed their education.
Mm-hmm.
Once after they have come out of that reformative period,
Okay.
they have definitely continued with their education like any normal child,
Okay.
any normal.
And the privacy of this child who has committed this kind of crimes will be
Always kept in.
kept confidential, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
it's
100% confidential.
so
They
it-
don't even disclose.
okay, fine.
For
Okay.
example, if you look at it, even till date, Nirbhaya case, the juvenile delinquent's name is not disclosed.
Yeah, right.
Ah,
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. That's all from my side. The questions part. I
good.
now hand over to Shobha ma'am. I think Shobha ma'am has some more questions, and later Deshmukh sir can also ask some questions to you. So, over to you, ma'am.
Okay.
Shobha ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gururaj. Prema, I have one question for you.
Shubha.
You spoke about other things, but one of the common things that I see many adolescents involved is with accidents. In their, in
correct.
their willingness to learn, especially four-wheelers,
Yes.
they have kind of, and I have had clients who they have bumped into standing other vehicles, damaged vehicles. There have been loss of life also.
Correct.
So if there is a situation like this, irrespective of the age of the child, usually mostly it's between 12 to 16 years that I have seen.
Correct.
What does the law say about it?
In fact, I just forgot to mention about it. See, as you said that not only your clients, in Chandigarh, the traffic police were really fed up of the children driving the cars below the age of 16. For high-end cars, they cause accidents, and the powers of police under the Indian Penal Code is only you fine them. Under section 279 for rash and negligent driving, you collect the fine from them. That apart, under the Motor Vehicle Act, you impose penalty on them. Being a minor, you drive the car. And second thing is you are causing injuries to causing danger to the life of the other person. For that, causing danger to the other person's life, again it is 324, 337, sometimes 304A also, for causing death by rash and negligent driving. Then police used to collect only the penalty and driving a car without the driving license. So these are all the offences come under Motor Vehicle Act. People were the police were so fed up of these crimes committed by the minors. Finally, they started actually impounding the driving license of their parents. Second thing is, as you said, wheeling. Wheeling on busy roads is always committed by the adolescent children.
Exactly, yeah. That was my next feeling, yeah.
Exactly. Wheeling is also another problem. Only where we find among the adolescent children. So they don't even realize, for fun they do that, but it causes damages to the other person's life. So police will also view this kind of similar incidents in par with Indian Penal Code. Whatever, suppose a person is dead or killed in an accident wherein an adolescent child is involved, definitely there is 302 imposed on him. 304A is imposed on him. Apart from other sections, that is 279, 334, 324, 337. These are all the sections wherein the police can impose on the children, the adolescent children. So in these circumstances, the responsibility of the parents are more that they should advise they should not encourage the children that yes, whatever you do, we are there to take care. Because the children generally say that nothing will happen. Suppose if I drive the vehicle in a rash and negligent manner, the traffic police will come and he will only fine me 200 rupees, 300 rupees. That should not be the case. So if a child is capable of taking care of that penalty, that means he should be kept under watch. His activities and the friend circle should be monitored by the parents. They should tell them that, if you commit such kind of a crime throughout your life, you will not be entitled to get a driving license. Because repeated offenders, now because of keeping that aspect only in the viewpoint. Even law is the acts have been amended. Motor Vehicles Act, first time offender, second time offender, the third time offender, you will lose your driving license. Particularly the adolescent children, they will not be able to get their driving license at all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Prema. I think very interesting take. My other question was that a lot of children very openly now seek drugs. And some of them also get into I don't know, but I have some cases where they have got into also selling the drugs. So having drugs is one part of the problem which needs a complete different treatment. But selling drugs to make that extra money is also. So if an adolescent is caught buying or selling drugs, then what is it that the law has to say about that?
Law will deal with them in a similar manner, where for drug peddling, whatever is the section for drug peddling, they do that. Not only drug peddling, the children not only sell the drugs to make money, to get money to fulfill their desires, they also get into acts like Hawala.
Exactly.
A boy goes to some 10 places carrying only tiffin carrier. A 14 years boy going to various places with his tiffin carriers, nobody suspects. But when he was finally caught and then found that he was only involved in Hawala, he was actually acting as a person, because children, people will not suspect him, no. The police also, the law will not suspect a boy carrying tiffin carrier. Particularly the illiterate class. The illiterates are more susceptible. Of course, even literates also are no less. Because nowadays, consuming drugs and visiting hookah bars and visiting the pubs is become a common phenomena. Like we have children wearing some dress from home to school and changing the dress and visiting hookah bars. We have so many instances. But the law will deal with in accordance with the other adults. There is no privilege given to the juvenile delinquents at all, or to the adolescent child at all.
Okay. Thank you, Premlata ma'am. Those are the two questions that I had. Manohar sir, any questions from your side, sir? Sir, you're on mute. Sir, you're on mute.
Manohar sir, you're on mute.
Manohar sir, you're on mute.
Okay. So Mandal sir, do you have any questions? Let Manohar sir come once. Okay, Manohar sir, go ahead.
Yeah, Manohar sir is here.
Now I audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Please,
Yes, sir.
Camera rotate, sir.
Madam, Premlata, you are very much involved with
sir.
Parihara Kendra.
So Deshmukh sir, your camera should be rotated. Sorry. Your camera. Mobile
Camera rotate.
No.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Madam.
Yes, sir.
You are connected with Parihara Kendra in the police
Yes, sir.
department. Can
Yes,
you please tell us something about Parihara Kendra for these? Is it only for girls?
No,
Or
sir.
also-
It is for boys also.
Fine. Tell us something about it.
Hello.
Madam, is that Parihara Kendra similar to that remand home or rehabilitation home?
No, sir. No, rehabilitation home, the state homes for children, they keep the children. The children will be a resident of that state home. And there are so many reformatory measures to be taken, or the children, the adolescent children will be put to all these reformatory methods. Whereas Makkala Sahayavani is not that.
Parihara Kendra. What is the Parihara Kendra?
Sir, Parihara Kendra is, suppose it is a center established by the police department in a commissioner's office, that is in SP offices in each district. So where a child has a problem, it may be a sexual offense, or a child might be having some problem with the parents, they can approach the Parihara Kendra, wherein the counselors, I should call them as counselors only, counselors who are trained as trained psychiatrists, and sometimes legal advocates also will be there. Sometimes police also will be a part of that board. They will try to address the problem, give maximum legal support, and then try to resolve the problem.
They won't be impounded.
No, sir. And in case if they find that there is the child is being a victim of some incident, then they will recommend the police department to take legal action. They will not directly take any action. Sir?
Only a complaint it is.
Yes, sir. That is only a platform for any child to approach.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sir.
Okay. So Mandal sir, you are here, I believe. So from your experience and also being in teaching profession as well as heading the institution, so do you have any questions to our speaker, Miss Premlata ma'am?
So I think only thing I'll do is, since participation is not record, I'll put it to all my class teachers. That will certainly go to.
Okay. Your voice is not clear, sir. Fine, no issues. So I think we are at the end of the program. I take this opportunity to thank our speaker, eminent speaker, Ms. Premlata, who is an advocate and is also working extensively on solving the general cases. And I extend my grateful thanks to you, ma'am, on behalf of IIH and IIH Karnataka, and behalf of all our EC members of IIH Karnataka. I extend my gratitude for joining our web series. This is our third web series, in fact. So I know it's a challenging task to come online and deliver the speech, but somehow we have started this program keeping in the mind of public interest as well as parents interest, in fact. So this is going to continue for till we get few more eminent speakers. We'll continue our web series. We are planned for 2 web series every month, and our upcoming web series will be on drug addiction and impact on adolescent lifestyles. So this will be our next web series on 26th August. The speaker will be our IH secretary, Dr. Jugal Kishore, who is head of the department community medicine, Safardan Jung Hospital, New Delhi. So you'll be having this web series on 26th August. So I once again thank you, ma'am, for your time and patience. And I also thank all the EC members who have joined during this session and giving your time, precious time. I know everyone is busy. Shobha ma'am, Manoj sir, Ranjit Mandal sir, all of us are busy, I know. So all of you, and in fact, taking your precious time and being part of the program itself is one of the best part of this IH web series. I once again thank you, all of you, for joining this web series. Hope to see you in the next web series. By this, I'll close this web series session. Once again, thank you very much, ma'am. Happy weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gururaj. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.